Whew, things aren't looking too good right now. Look at all these cars behind me. See that doubled up right there? All these cars doubled up right there. I've had that one for over a year. That is not a good sign. Things aren't looking too pretty for the car industry right now. And in today's video, I'm gonna explain to you, like, if you're a consumer, what you should be looking out for, because things are actually getting better for you. If your car dealer owns some type of dealership, or you're like buying and selling cars on the side, this video also applies to you. I'm going to go through the entire market because there's a lot of updates and my feet are on the ground. I like to say that I do kind of have a crystal ball because I get to see how people are spending their money, and I try to do these car market updates monthly. You're onto a new month. We're onto a whole new set of issues. I'm going to talk about Amazon selling new cars and how that's going to affect the world soon, and what's going on with trucks and SUVs and cars and electric vehicles, a whole nother headache. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Stay tuned. I'm going to get into it. Let's get going. So hey, welcome to Flying Wheels. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels, and I want to use car dealer, small car dealership in New Hampshire, and we sell a little bit of everything. I have an Audi A7 here. I have a 2019 Silverado, an everything. I mean, you name it, we have it. And the key to my success or keeping my business afloat has always been low overhead. I keep we own our inventory. I don't do floor plans because that's how you get in trouble. Loans are the devil. We try to own our inventory. We try to sell inspected cars that another mechanic goes through for us. We repair them, we detail them, we sell them. And I've been through it all. I've been through the recession in 2008 where no one could qualify for a loan. I've been through COVID where everything was inflated and there was a car market adjustment and everyone was overpaying. We've had great times, we've had bad times. I've been through it all. So I'd like to share my experience with you guys because I've seen a good amount of it. And there's a lot of changes going on right now that are going to affect everybody, whether you're a car dealer or a consumer. Now I'm going to start by saying I have had this 2017 Ford Expedition EL Limited for over a year. It blows my mind that I have this car. But I specifically remember the day I bought this Expedition, and I remember what I paid for it, and I remember being at the auction when it ran through. And I remember bidding on it, and I was the highest bidder, but it wasn't enough for the seller to sell it. It was a trade-in to a new car store, and the guy wouldn't sell it. He said, "Oh, it's worth 20 grand. I'm like, dude, the market is changing. This was a year ago. I'm like, the market is changing. This thing's worth 18 max, and I'm gonna be stuck with it if I pay anything more than that." And he's like, "All right, fine, take it." That was a year ago. 1 year later, I'm selling this thing for 18 because it's quite honestly, that's what it's worth retail, not wholesale. Like, I should have bought it for like 14 or 15 to be selling it for 18. So now I'm just trying to break even on a car that's tied up $18,000 for 12 months. Why is that? Well, the market has changed. We all know that there was a market adjustment during COVID. There was a car shortage, and then the price of cars went up, and anybody that owned a car had more equity than they normally would have in their cars. So they were just cashing in, getting all the money for them. And then they were overpaying on new cars, and now people own cars from 2020, 2021, and maybe even 2022 for too much money. So when they go trade it in, they just suffer a gigantic loss. Or if they try to trade it in and owe way too much money, they're stuck with it. They can't do anything with it. That's part of the problem that's happening right now. Now, I'm going to relate this to the housing market as well. So interest rates take a huge effect on everything, prices on everything, values on everything. So if I can afford $1,000, I can afford $1,000 a month. That's it. It doesn't matter what the car is. It's what I can afford. So if a brand new Expedition was going to cost me $1,000 at 3%, now it's at 8%, I can't afford that same Expedition because the prices have actually gone up on new cars. So that brand new Expedition's higher now. Interest rates are higher. So that payment's more like $1,400. So I can't afford that same brand new Expedition that I may have been able to afford when interest rates were 3 and 4%. Which means I have to step down. So if maybe it was a Navigator, maybe the Navigator was $1,000 that you could afford, and now you can only afford the Expedition because you have to reduce the price in order to afford that $1,000. That's how it works. So you're paying all interest instead of principal. It's just a bummer, and that's the world we live in now. Your payments are higher just because the interest is higher, which means you can afford less. Now, I always say there is a supply and demand. Everybody knows what supply and demand is. Well, we have no shortage of supply. Clearly, I have way too many cars. And when I have a supply and there's no demand, well, now the power is on you, the consumer. I was going to talk about you being the consumer. Now the power is in your hand. Like, things are negotiable again. I don't want them to be negotiable. I like that, like, no, we try to price them fairly type of thing. But honestly, if somebody came and made me an offer on that white Expedition right there, I got to get rid of it. It's tying up too much money. So I paid too much for it a year ago. Now I got to liquidate. I got to get my money back. I'm ready to be negotiable. And that's how a lot of dealers are right now. They are negotiable once again. Now prices have drastically changed on trucks, and I want to show you what I mean. This right here is a 2015 or a 2016 Chevy Silverado. It has a lot of miles. It has like 160,000 miles. 2016, one owner, no accidents, with 160,000 miles. It's $18,000. To be quite honest with you, a year ago, that would have been a great price. I haven't had this for a year, but that would have been a great price. Now it's probably worth more like $16,000 to $17,000. And if somebody came and offered me that, I would take it. Why? Because I was basing my prices on a market that isn't anymore. We're not in that market anymore. Now we're in a lower priced market. Let me show you what I mean. We're in a new market where dealers are paying less for the cars. Prices have come down for us. This is a 2019 Chevy Silverado crew cab with the same mileage. A lot of miles, but it's a 2019 new body style crew cab. Almost the same price. I think it's $1,000 more. So for $1,000 more, you can have 3 years newer body style, full crew cab with more options. All because I paid less for the 2019 Silverado. So if you were on my parking lot truck shopping, you would go to the newer truck. Why? Because it's the same price with the same mileage, but it's newer. Why is that, Craig? Well, I bought that Silverado in a different market. It didn't sell. Now I'm stuck with it in a new market. So as a dealer, we have to either cut our losses, cut our ties, and liquidate it, move it on, and readjust to today's pricing, or we hang on to it forever, like my Expedition. Now, as a consumer, it's helpful to know how long a car has been on a parking lot. The 2019 Silverado, we just listed that on our website last week because we just bought it last week. So that I purchased according to today's market. I was able to buy it for less. I'm able to sell it for less. Now, what am I actually seeing in the market? Like, I sold a 2015 Tahoe last week, and not much. Like my phone really isn't ringing. My email's not exploding. My texts aren't exploding. My phone's not really ringing. And I'm part of some dealer Facebook groups that are saying exactly the same thing. Now, here's a post that one of the dealers made in the dealer group that I want to read to you because it's pretty important, and it applies exactly to this video because it comes from somebody else's mouth. It's not just me saying these things. So can we discuss the elephant in the room? MMR has crashed nearly 20% on most cars in the last 2 weeks. Now, MMR is the Manheim Market Report. That is about 30 days delayed, but it tells you how cars are selling and what they're selling for at local Manheim auctions. Now, I think 20% is an exaggeration, but it does show what's happening. Insanely low lease residuals on most new cars with sky-high money factors. Lease return buyout numbers on 2020 models almost identical to 2021 models. Zero equity lease returns, now all flooding an already slow market with crashing wholesale numbers. Interest rates climbing weekly. Where does the market go from here but down? Now, there are a few factors. It's November. November is always one of my slowest months. November and December is actually when I buy my cars because I can buy them at a better price because there's not much demand and there's a good amount of supply. So I can buy them now stocking for once we get our first snow, truck prices and SUV prices climb. Now, that post I just showed you has 68 comments, and a majority of the dealers said exactly the same thing. I buy now as a dealer so I can pass that savings on to the consumer when the market changes. I don't want to overpay and then have to overcharge. If I can buy it right, I can sell it right, and it makes for a quicker sale and a happier customer. Now, with that being said, as a consumer, if you came in cash in hand or with good credit ready to purchase, I'm ready to negotiate. I don't want to just keep tying up my money holding onto vehicles for a better time. If I'm buying them now, I want to sell them now anyway. So quick turnover is great. If you're a consumer thinking about purchasing, it's like an ideal time to walk in as a buyer with power now because there's not a lot of buyers right now. And exactly like I just said, this guy right here commented exactly the same thing. Buy right now because there's going to be a jump in January, February, and March. What am I talking about with January, February, March? Well, that's tax season. When tax season comes in and people get their tax refund checks, they have a little bit of money and it starts flooding the market, and now there's more demand than there is supply and the prices go up. If you're a consumer that's able to buy now when the demand is low and the supply is high, that's when you should be purchasing, because I'm telling you right now, if you wait till the new year, prices are going to start to increase again. Now, I love this comment right here, scared money don't make money. What does that mean? Well, if I just keep my cash in a bank account, it's not going to make me any money. which is why you'll see me doubled up on inventory and no extra parking spaces. I'm stocking up. So yeah, I said I've had some overpriced inventory for a little too long, but a majority of it was bought right and bought at the right time, and I just have to sit and wait for the right time to come so I can pass that savings. I say that like, I'm a car dealer, I get it. That sounds like a sales pitch. But I can pass the savings on to the consumer so I can have a better priced car when the time comes. So I love this comment here, load up because the bottom is now, which is how I feel as well. I do it every single year. November, December, I load up now because that's when the bottom of the year is. So it applies to you as well. And you're hearing it from other dealers. Like, these are car guys. These are guys that have been in the business a long time. They know how the business works. They know the ups and downs. Load up applies to me just as much as it applies to you as a consumer. Go buy your car now. The bottom is here. Now, I like this comment right here regarding the UAW strike. Don't worry, because the strike will cause prices to go back up, right? We should have a shortage of vehicles because vehicles went on strike again. Well, people weren't buying cars. The demand wasn't like it was during COVID. So we're using the same rationale like, oh, during COVID we had a supply shortage and we still had demand, so prices skyrocketed. The UAW strike shut down factories and manufacturers weren't producing cars, so we should have a shortage of cars, but there aren't buyers like there were because interest rates are high again. So people are like, no, I don't really need a car right now. I won't buy one. That's a different story. So that's why, there might be a shortage of new cars, but that's not true. There really are. Have you been to your local car dealer? Just drive by next time and look at how many vehicles they have of new inventory. There's no shortage of new cars. Now let's discuss a different topic. Hyundai is the first manufacturer that's going to be selling new cars on Amazon, which raises a few questions for me. Number one, how are dealers going to do trade-ins? So if you're buying a Hyundai on Amazon, cool, like the price is probably going to be the price. It's non-negotiable. Everybody's going to like that. You can do your reviews. You can do your research online. You can pick your color. You can't do test drives. So when you go to the new car store, you can't test drive it. But it's kind of the Tesla model where your car shows up to the distribution center. So instead of the dealer where you purchase it, you buy it from Amazon, it gets shipped to the Hyundai distribution center instead of the Hyundai dealer. It's probably serviced at the Hyundai dealer still, so the dealers can still make their money on service. But what about all those ancillary products that dealers actually make a lot of money on, like wheel and tire packages, extended warranty packages? Amazon's going to offer those, I'm sure they are. Now, here's the issue. Amazon is an undercutter. So every company that has started selling a product, Amazon has either bought that product from them or they have made a similar product for a lower price in order to shut down that original product, and then they raise the prices once that company's out of business. So the idea is, let's sell one brand manufacturer through Amazon, see how it works. Once we get our foot in the door and show people that it works, then we can start doing it to every manufacturer. They can't just jump in and sell everything. So it's going to start small and it's going to grow from there. And I've been saying for a long time, I think the age, this day of new car stores is ending anyway. People don't need it, and Tesla's proved that. We don't need to go in to buy a car anymore, especially like we're ordering online. I bought a Corvette from a Chevy dealer. I went and said I want to buy a Corvette. They said, okay, I'll take your deposit, go online and order it, and we'll call you when it's in. And they called me when it's in, and then when I had questions, I'm like, how's the convertible top go down? He's like, oh, I don't really know. Let's Google it. So like he's learning the car as I was learning the car. He didn't sell me on anything. I bought it online. It was shipped to him. So the idea of that ship-to-store model is already happening. Nothing's changing, but Amazon could be undercutting a lot of businesses and actually hurting the market. And that's, I would love to hear the more discussions in the comments of what you guys think of that. But I can tell you that's a foot in the door, and it's going to be a bigger issue, concern, or maybe better for the public down the road. Let's discuss what I'm actually seeing personally. What are people buying? What are people not buying? I have had trucks and bigger SUVs for far too long. So like here's an Escalade ESV. I love this truck. I paid pennies on the dollar for it. And I will be able to sell it because I bought it right. And it's almost at one of those prices where you're like, how can I resist? It's so cheap. My trucks aren't really selling. My SUVs aren't really selling. And what customers call me for are cheap cars. Like especially my friends. My friends will call me and they'll go, Craig, what do you have for a cheap car? And I'm like, dude, I don't want to sell you a cheap car. I have good cars. I have really, really good cars, and I'd be happy to see you driving around in it. I don't want to see you at the gym in your budget car winter beater that I sold you and hear about what issues there are. But that's what everybody wants. Like, hey, I need a cheap car for the winter. I'm going to sell my $30,000 car. What do you have for $5,000? I don't want to represent a $5,000 car forever. I'll own that thing for life. And anytime I see that person, I'm going to hear about it. And when, like, this was a person from the gym, when that person drives to the gym and everybody sees like a rusty old pickup truck and they're like, oh, where'd you get that thing? Yeah, I bought that from Craig from Flying Wheel. I don't want that to be my name, the cheapy pickup truck. I want, like, how about this Escalade ESV that runs awesome, that's clean? That's the stuff I want my name on. But it's tough when everybody's thinking now, I need to start saving money. I can't afford groceries. I can't afford milk. I can't afford daycare. I can't afford diapers. I can't afford to take somebody out to dinner. Forget about it. And Christmas is coming. People are stressed. They're selling their higher dollar cars to cash in, take their money out, and they're buying cheaper cars. And they're just thinking more rationally, more budget friendly. And that's the world we live in because everything is more expensive and doesn't make sense. Inflation is just tremendously high and has affected everybody with or without money, and it's affecting the car market, which is what I'm selling. Anything under $6,000, it flies. I don't want to be the guy that sells cheap cars, but that's the market that's moving right now. The CSV, that's not selling. The Expedition, that's not selling. That truck, the 2019, that'll sell, but it's not selling fast. I buy something four-wheel drive for $6,000, like this blue Chevy Trailblazer, for example. This is a 6-cylinder full-wheel drive with a third-row seat, not crazy miles. It's inspected, it's clean, it has good tires. It's $5,500. I will sell 10 of these before I sell one of these, unless, of course, a limo company's looking for a black Escalade ESV. Now, I had said that I've been through ups and downs in the car market. Is it a bad time to be a car dealer? No, not if you buy things right. When I started my car dealership, it was 2008. I got my dealer's license, and banks stopped lending. Dealers that had floor plans, their cars were getting snatched overnight. Like the auction and the floor plan company were taking cars right back from the dealers because they weren't able to pay their loans back. So I lived through that. And what happened was I bought cars that people were buying, and I bought at the right price. So as I said, I may have some cars that I purchased wrong, but that will go. I'll get rid of them eventually. I'll sell them at cost, and then I'll purchase cars at today's market value and then be able to sell cars. People are always going to need transportation, and that's never been a problem. So whether things were really, really high or really, really low, people always needed cars. And like I said, they may be selling their $30,000 truck, but they're buying a $6,000 SUV. So you just know your markets, know what people want, know your locations, your demographics. What do people want? What are people buying? Are they cash buyers? Are they finance buyers, which are tough right now? Like, you're going to see a lot of cash buyers because interest rates are so high. And focus on that. What is selling for you? Purchase what's selling. Purchase what the people are buying. It's not about you, it's about the consumer. And then from there, you'll be sustainable. So I think I covered a lot of topics in this video. I love like the buy, fix, flip, clean, sell videos. I love making these like bring cars back to life videos. That's my LS1 Nissan 240SX, and that jet ski is going to be a video. I really enjoy doing those too, but I get my feet are on the ground floor. I get to see what's happening in the car world, in the car market, and how it affects all of you, sometimes before you even see it, and I like to put it out there. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, just thumbs ups are appreciated down below. They don't cost you anything, and they're really helpful for us. And subscribe if you're into anything auto related. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later.